Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first ever Motor Games. It'll be an ultimate battle showing off what these machines are made of. We have taken 10 vehicles from all over the globe and put them together in a huge event to determine which car is the best and which car will become the ultimate Motor Games champion. They will compete across many different events to see how they will perform against each other and who will be the one to come out on top in the tournament. Well, we'll have to find out, but first, let's head down to the beach to meet the competitors taking place in the first ever Motor Games. Firstly, from the United Kingdom, the Ascot Jubilee. Then, from Germany, the Ores D12. From the United States, the Cavill Vegas. From France, the Citrus Lavauchois Wedge. Also from France, the Citrus Tango Twin. From the United States, the Chrysler Rebel Hellhound. From Japan, the Kenji Banjo. From Italy, the Milano Imola GT. From Japan, the Shindaiko Katana GR4. Finally, from the United Kingdom, the Vetus Motion Sports. And those are all the competitors in this year's Motor Games. So, which one will come out on top? Well, we'll find out in this event. But first, a little overview of how the event is going to play out. The Motor Games will consist of 5 set challenges, each challenge playing to the strength of some cars and the weaknesses of others. The scoring system works with each car scoring a certain amount of points for each challenge they win, with first getting 10 points, second place getting 9, third place getting 8, with each position after that scoring 1 less point. After all the challenges have been completed, the scores will be added up, and whichever car with the most amount of points by the end is the winner of the first ever Motor Games. However, once that car wins, it'll be going up against the car that wins the next Motor Games competition, and will face off against them in a head-to-head contest over 3 different events in order to determine which car will become the ultimate Motor Games champion. Now, for our first event, we are here at the Awesomation Test Track, where our first challenge will be the Fuel Efficiency Challenge. The rules for this are pretty simple. Each car will be filled up with 1 litre of fuel, and the objective is to drive as far as you can around the track before running out. Once a vehicle runs out of fuel, it will have to come to a complete stop and pull over to the side of the road. Whichever car covers the most distance wins the challenge. So, without any further ado, let's get underway with our first competitor already at the start line, the Ascot Jubilee. Now, the competitors at the start line, let's see how it performs in the Fuel Economy Challenge. In 3, 2, 1, go. Now, a rule I forgot to mention was that the cars have to be driven as hard as possible, so the fuel drains a lot faster. So far, oh god. Another thing is I kinda have to not bin it either, otherwise I have to redo the lap, which in the Jubilee is a little bit difficult. It's quite a handful, this car. So far, so good. Oh, off the track by accident, but it doesn't matter. It's also a timed lap. It's just a fuel economy challenge. Now it's reaching the carousel. Turning in nicely. Now this is probably the part where it's going to drink a loss of fuel, where I have to put the hammer down to go down the main straight. Oh! And it just conked out. I have to say, it's not a bad showing for the Jubilee, stopping just after the carousel on the way down to the main straight. So, with the Jubilee setting the benchmark, let's see how the other cars measure up. Okay, and up next is the Imola GT. Now, I'm a bit on the fence of how this car's going to perform. Yes, it's newer than the Jubilee, so it's got more modern fuel injection technology. On paper, it seems this might tie with the Jubilee, actually, because it's got a massive engine. It's a 5-point-odd litre V10 under the bonnet, so how it will do, I'm expecting maybe the same, or maybe even going a little bit further. Oh well, we'll see. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, go. So far, so good. It's made it past the first chicane and the first bend now. What's it going to be like through the second corner? Is it going to make it past Ban Hammerhead? So far, yes it is. Ooh, gets the tail out a bit there, but the traction control saving me from wrapping as a... Oh! And it stopped. Just before the carousel, the Imola GT has spluttered to a halt, putting it so far in this challenge in second place. Let's see how it compares to the third contender. Up next is the Citrus Lavochois Wedge, and to be fair with you, I don't think in the motor games this car is going to do too well, but this might be one of the few challenges that this car might actually excel in. It's got a V6 engine, which I think I remember is maybe 3 liters, 2.5. I'm not too sure. I don't really remember that. I recorded the build for this thing months ago, but yeah. So it's got a relatively small, maybe decent engine, and it might sip fuel very slowly. Who knows? Anyways, let's send this car on its way. In 3, 2, 1, go. I remember this is actually one of the slowest cars I've built so far. So in to the chicane. It's alright so far. Oh, banging off the rev limiter. That's not going to be doing the fuel economy any favors. Through the first turn, that's okay. Coming up to Ban Hammerhead. Any second now. Any second now. Okay, now. As it's approaching the carousel now, it's going to pass the Imola GT. And there it goes. Ooh, the Lavochois Wedge might just do well in this challenge. And it's now coming up to pass the Jubilee. And there it goes. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Lavochois Wedge is actually, so far, winning a challenge. Oh, can it keep its momentum? Oh, nope. Engine disabled. Oh, it won't stop. Wow, that actually did a lot better than I expected. The Lavochois Wedge, the cheese wedge car, has come first in a challenge. That is insane. I mean, look at the distance between it and the Jubilee. And then further back, where is it? There it is. The Imola GT. That is crazy. However, with the next contender, I don't think its lead is going to last very long. Let's go back to the starting line. Now, up next is the Vetus Motion Sport. Now, this thing is powered by a turbocharged inline 5. I don't really know if this is going to do well or not. I think it's definitely going to pass the Imola GT, that's for certain, but the other cars, including the Lavochois Wedge, maybe not. Who knows? Anyways, let's fire it up and see how it goes. In 3, 2, 1, go. Into the first chicane now. Nice and tidy. Makes it past that point, which is, well, good. So far, so good for the Vetus Motion Sport. Coming up to Ban Hammerhead now. On the brakes. And makes it through the turn. Very good. It's about to pass the Imola GT onto the carousel. And there it goes. Yes, that is what happens when you have half of an engine rather than a full one. And passes it. Oh, it's on its way to overtake the Citrus Lavochois Wedge. Is the sports van gonna do it? It looks like it might. And it blasts past the Wedge into the slingshot. So this is actually... just as I open my big fat mouth, it dies. And the brakes faded as well. Oh dear. But a surprising result for the Vetus Motion Sport, and it's now the new leader, followed by the Lavochois Wedge, the Ascot Jubilee, and the Imola GT. That is quite a good result then. Let's see our next car then, as we head over to the starting line. Up next is the Ores D12. It's by far the heaviest vehicle in the competition, weighing just over 3 tons, and it's also powered by a 6.5 litre twin-turbo V12. Ah, but you might be thinking, this car is powered by a quote-unquote diesel, so it might be economical. I'm not so sure about that, but we'll see how it does anyways. In 3, 2, 1, go. A very low revving engine this, topping out at about 3,500 RPM. Makes it past the first chicane. Very good. So far we still... Oh no! Hang on, hang on. It just ran out. So, it stopped there. And that is pretty poor, I'm afraid. The Ores D12 coming in last place in the Fuel Economy Challenge. Not a good look for the Germans here, I'm afraid. Alright, and that will do it for the first part of the Fuel Economy Challenge. Let's see the scoreboard so far. And coming in first is the Vetus Motion Sport, which put on a very good showing in the challenge. Followed close behind, though, another surprise in the Citrus Lavochois Wedge, bagging in a second place result. In third, the Ascot Jubilee. In fourth, the Milano Imola GT. And then in last place, the Ores D12. Well, thank you all so much for joining for the first part of the Fuel Economy Challenge. And stay tuned because part 2 will be uploaded to the channel very soon. Thanks for watching, and take it easy, lads.